Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pathways to Healing, the Perfect Step podcast. We're your hosts, Cody Norman
and Logan Fry, process recovery specialists at the Perfect Step, also known as TPS.
We are not doctors and are not prescribing anything, as this podcast is for informational purposes and should not be considered legal advice.
We are, however, sharing knowledge and experience that we have gained from working for years with clients in the paralysis community.
The guests on this podcast include members from the paralysis community sharing their perspective and insight.
Suggestions and advice that we share may affect each person differently, as not one injury or diagnosis is the same.
A couple years ago, her best friend got married, and they were married before her softball coach is ordained and married them.
Oh.
But that was just a small ceremony with immediate family.
Oh, okay.
So when they had their big ceremony, they asked me to do it. And I said, no way. And then after I thought about it, I said, it's kind of rude, I guess. So I called them back. I said, look, I'm really uncomfortable doing it, but if you want me to, I'll do it. They said, yeah, we want you to. So oh, no. But I was not nervous for her wedding for some reason. It was okay.
Dang.
So
I wonder if fight or flight took over and everything just became natural.
They just black out.
Yeah.
So now you're expecting?
You said what? Am I expecting?
Is that not what you're expecting?
No.
The voice?
Your
No.
voice? I think I've
I don't know
seen a
what I
little
was
bit of that
expecting.
speech before, but I definitely forgot what you sounded like.
That's
Sounds
crazy.
a lot different.
Just a little bit.
It's crazy.
It's a lot.
When you see or hear videos of yourself, when you're voice recording, do you think that's Alexis, or do you think okay, who is that's talking?
Now?
Yeah, both. Yeah.
I think of myself like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So that's weird.
So let me ask you this though: do you have a voice in your head?
What's that?
Okay, that's your voice in your head. Okay. How about you? When you have a voice, because everyone has a voice in their head, right? What does your voice sound like? Does it sound like your voice?
Yeah, it sounds like me, yeah.
Okay.
When I'm talking to myself in my head.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sounds like me. Then yours?
I don't know. My brother asked me this question a couple weeks ago. He was like, everyone has a voice in their head, right? What does yours sound like? I was like, dude, that's a deep question. I have no idea. I don't know.
I would say mine sounds how I sound, but the way I hear it when I'm talking, not the way I hear it when it's pre-recorded.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
because those are two way different things. How I
definitely.
hear myself right now is not what I hear when he plays it back.
Yeah.
Yes, agreed.
And the
Yeah.
voice I hear in my head, I would say, is the one that I hear when I'm currently talking.
When I talk in my head, I feel like I have a really deep voice. It sounds like, but when I hear it, it's like, man, I'm nasally.
Yeah, that's so
You're
true.
trying to catch your head.
Yeah.
But after you got injured, how long did it take for you to get to the point to where you are now to have the voice projection that you do have right now?
I honestly think it's still ongoing. People I see now, if I haven't seen them in 6 months, they'll be like, wow, you sound so much better. And to me, because I'm with me every day, I sound the same. But they still see the improvement.
That's awesome.
But I think to the point where you can actually hear me and understand me.
Definitely.
It was probably 6 months.
6 months post.
It was a long time.
Wow.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, even from the time that I've started working with you or used to work with you at TPS and to how I get to fill in for Logan or Lockett now, I've been able to notice a difference with your projection and your ability to pronunciate.
So when
certain
was
words.
that? When did you guys start working together? Do you remember?
2 years ago?
Yeah, it was when I first started.
Yeah, once you first
here.
started.
Oh,
It was
okay.
a couple months that we worked together, and then, so I would say about 2 years. In the 2 years, there's been a good amount of progression in your ability to project and pronunciate, not only louder, but the specificity of the words. It's been really cool to see.
That's nice to hear because I can't tell.
No? What about you?
Oh, yeah. She's definitely still improving. It wasn't too many months ago that if I was in the other room and I had a question for her, even if it was just a yes or no question, I had to go in, get in her face and go, do you want this? But now I can yell from the other room and say, do you want this? And I can hear her say yes or no.
That's awesome.
So
That's super cool.
I think I can thank him for part of my improvement. Because he's so hard of hearing, I always have to yell at him.
what?
Exactly.
You're just having to project louder and louder. Yeah, so it's just getting...
Both my parents are aging.
That's not nice.
I have to yell at
Everybody
them.
here is aging. Just
Yeah, we are.
you-
Yeah, so.
Aged.
Have there been specific things that you've done to help with that? Do you sing? Do you
No.
try to scream and yell at your sister? Do you just do practicing of like voice recordings?
No, I don't think anybody wants me to sing. So, except maybe my speech therapist. I went to a lot of speech therapy and to a lot of breathing exercises and voice exercises. But honestly, I think what's helped me most is just speaking every day. And like, if I go out to a restaurant, practicing ordering my own food. Because that was a big challenge for me in the beginning. And now that's something that I do for myself, I think most of the time.
That's awesome.
usually she'll tell me what she wants, me or her mother, and then she'll order. And if the waiter or waitress looks like a deer in headlights, then I'll tell them what she said. But for the most part, they usually get it, unless it's really loud in the restaurant. Then it's tough for Alexis.
Definitely. In the first 6 months, so you said that's when you kind of were slowly starting to get your voice back. What was your main form of communication in those first 6 months without being able to speak?
We tried a few different things. In the very beginning, I didn't move my mouth either. So we had a board with numbers and letters. And I would blink when they would get to the right one. And we'd go down the line and I'd slowly spell things out. And then when I started moving my mouth, we did some lip reading, which is difficult. They were pretty good at it, but it's not great. Then I think after a couple of months, I got a whisper going. So we could do a little bit of whispering, a little bit of lip reading, still some eye blinking. And then, it was probably about 6 months in that I even started to get somewhat of a voice.
Nice.
Do you remember what your first word was?
I think my speech therapist was pushing on my abdomen to help me get air out. And I think I just said hi.
How was that moment for you? Can you kind of describe that moment for you when you said your first words since your injury? How much of a breakthrough that was?
I think it felt exciting and hopeful because I'd seen they brought in I don't know if he was a speech therapist or I think he was an ENT from USC. They brought him to Costa Catalina and he scoped me, got a tube up the nose, and he was poking at my vocal cords. And at the time I was just whispering. And he said, well, a whisper isn't actually a voice. And your vocal cords don't really move. So you'll probably never speak. And that was devastating. So to even have a little bit of a voice felt really hopeful.
It's huge. Yeah.
How long after the ENT came and said that you weren't going to be able to have a voice did you actually say your first word?
So maybe a month.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't too terribly long.
Pretty quick.
Yeah.
You just wanted to prove them wrong.
But even that, I would feel to say one word at a time.
Yeah.
And they would be pushing on my abdomen,
Had a nose clip on.
Yeah, oh yeah. All the air was going out my nose. So they'd put a nose clip on me for me to speak.
Oh, really?
So even to get to the point where I could, say a sentence was probably another few months. It's been slow.
So you mentioned in the beginning, like working on moving your jaw again and moving your mouth and like being able to get that back. Were you able to, you think, form a word like by moving your mouth, but there wasn't a voice coming out yet? You know what I mean? Like you're able to regain that function of jaw and mouth first, and then eventually came the voice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the mouth movement came back slowly and not all the way. Like I was doing therapy with like my face. They would come into my room in the ICU and like have me make weird faces and like stick my tongue out. It was weird.
Did your dad stand in front of you when you were doing that?
Yeah.
Even when she came home from Costa Rica, was saying home, she could, her food would be little tiny bites because she couldn't open her mouth very far.
Right.
And now she's pretty good.
Well, I still like somewhat restricted. And, like my tongue doesn't move all the way to one side. But when it first happened, I think didn't have like facial droop on one side.
You did, yes. Your left side was more paralyzed than your right side of your face.
Why do you think it was the left side as opposed to the right? Do they know?
There was, I know there was a nerve damage.
Got it.
In my head, and that caused the issue with my eye as well. That the issue with my eye where I had double vision.
Right.
And it was, that's just some nerve. I don't know the name of it.
The Be Perfect Foundation is not just a name, it's a promise. A promise to individuals living with paralysis that they are not alone in their journey. Founded by Hal Hargrave Jr. in 2007, after his own life-altering accident, we are a nonprofit 501c3 organization dedicated to providing direct financial and emotional aid. Inspired by a quote from the movie Friday Night Lights, we believe that being perfect is about doing everything you can, especially for yourself, your family, and your friends. With nearly $10 million raised and a 100% volunteer staff, your support goes directly to those in need. We assist with medical supplies, wheelchairs, home adaptations, and exercise-based therapy programs. Our board of directors receives no salary, ensuring that almost every dollar donated makes a real impact. Visit BePerfectFoundation.org to donate or learn how you can get involved. The Be Perfect Foundation, changing perceptions daily.
So for people that don't maybe know who you are, so I'm sure everyone does because you're on the front cover of Casa Cleaner magazine. So if you don't know Alexis, now you do. Also, this is her dad, Gerald. Thanks, Gerald, for being on too. We appreciate you taking the time. It's an absolute pleasure having both of you guys in the building. And I get excited when your dad comes in. We talk about sports and other things too, and baseball, but obviously focus on your session as well. But I wanted to get into maybe if you could talk about a little more of, you talked about the nerve being damaged. Would you mind giving us a little bit of a background story on how that nerve got damaged through your injury and what happened in your injury?
Yeah, so I was driving to work on the 91 freeway, and I was in stopping out traffic. And the person behind me never hit their brakes. Hit me going about 70 miles per hour. And I was stopped at the time. And so I broke at the C1 level. So they call it internal decapitation. And so they got a spinal cord injury. And I think my head hit the steering wheel. Because other than that, the only other thing was I had a black eye. And they said there was a nerve on the left side of my head that was damaged.
Do you have a black eye on that same side?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, on the left side too.
But other than that, my outward appearance was fine. I just had the black eye. It's kind of crazy.
No blood, no nothing?
I don't think so, no.
Really?
No.
That's
Just
insane.
a ton of tubes running out of her face when we got to the hospital.
Wow.
Do you remember where you were when you got the phone call?
I was at work. I got into work late that day because I wasn't feeling well that day and hadn't been to work long. And the hospital had got Alexis' phone and called our home phone, which nobody ever answers a home phone anymore.
Right.
And they finally got hold of my wife, and she called me and So we rushed down to the hospital as quick as we could. It's a call you never want to get. And I'll never forget when we got there, first it was during COVID times, so you had to get through security and all that. And then when we walked in through the doors of the emergency room department, everybody became deathly silent and stared at it and looked at us. And that feeling was like, oh my God. And it was something. I mean, the only thing the doctor said was have to wait and see.
Right. How long did you have to wait until you found out? Do you remember?
The first few days were we weren't sure.
Right.
She did wake up the first night. She was only unconscious for
12 hours.
12 hours. And we got there the next morning. They had taught her to blink yes or no. I think 2 blinks was yes and 1 blink was no. But that was all that was working.
Right.
She was on a vent. She wasn't breathing on it. Her heart never stopped. She never had, her heart never stopped, but she wasn't breathing. And a nurse pulled her out of the car and gave her resuscitations till first responders got there. So, I mean, it took them 8 or 9 minutes to get there, according to the police report. So, thank God for that nurse being there.
Did you ever meet her?
Definitely.
I have no idea who it is.
Wow. Well, hopefully she sees this video and she's out there. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Shout out there.
Yeah,
definitely.
seriously. Yeah. Yeah.
And so your experience of, getting to the hospital, going through those days of it being touch and go, do you remember the conversation of, okay, there's hope in a sense of now that she's going to be alive and going to start this recovery process?
Well, information came slow. Like I said, for the first few days, it was really touch and go. And it's funny the things you remember and the things, a lot of it's just a blur. But they diagnosed her as locked in, and the impression we got from that was that from here down, nothing would work because that's the level of her injury. Right. It's about straight back from her nose. And so it was like she's perfect from here up, but from here down, nothing's going to work. And that was, pretty tough.
Yeah,
definitely.
Did they diagnose her with the C1 injury right away?
Yes.
But they said it was going to be locked in?
Yeah.
Okay. And then...
Sorry, they knew right away that she had spinal cord injury. They told you guys as soon as you got there that it was a spinal cord injury?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they knew right away it was... I can't remember the medical term for it, but like she said, the doctor did tell us the term he used was the medical term, and then he said internally decapitated.
Right.
So the only thing holding her head on her body was soft tissue.
Right. And then they obviously gave you hardware. Where was the hardware located?
Yeah. I think rods and pins from my skull to C4.
Skull to C4.
Yeah.
What was the first thing you remember, waking up?
I remember talking to my dad, and he was saying, "Do you know that it's your sister's birthday?" Because my sister's birthday was 2 days after. And I just blinked yes. Which I didn't, I guess I knew because you were asking me.
But you didn't remember the 2 days prior? You didn't remember waking up
really.
the 12 hours after or anything like that? I'm sure you're pretty drugged up, feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I don't remember the accident at all. And I was on a lot of drugs, so
Yeah.
I don't remember a lot of the first few days. And what I do remember is a lot of hallucinations.
Yeah.
Really?
You don't remember anything from the surgeries?
No, not really.
How was the pain when you first came about?
Everything hurt. Everything felt like I was on fire. Guess that was the nerve pain.
Right.
And then especially my neck just felt like it was broken. It's hard to explain.
Yeah.
Just like the worst pain you can imagine.
And that nerve pain, I know like you still deal with heavy nerve pain now. How has that changed since the beginning of your injury to now? How's that nerve pain been different? How has the neck and shoulder pain been different? Has it been similar in some senses? And
It's similar in some senses, like, I still have the burning, but thankfully it's not as bad. And it's more like in my legs. Or worst case scenario, like legs and arms. Right before it was just like everywhere. And the neck pain thankfully has gotten a little bit better. I remember specifically, like in ICU, the left side of my neck and my left shoulder hurt so bad. I felt like someone was trying to rip my arm off. Like from my body, it was so bad. And I didn't have much to do in the ICU. So I literally just stare at the clock and like count the minutes until I could get my morphine.
and
I did not develop an addiction.
That's good.
And the morphine, was that like the key thing that helped you to rid of the pain?
It was like the only thing that even helped a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long like did you have to take morphine before you were able to like withstand that pain without the morphine?
I think I was still getting it when I came to Costa Catalina.
Yeah.
And that was 6 weeks after.
6 weeks after. Okay, so you got to Costa Catalina 6 weeks after you got injured.
Yeah.
What was the immediate hospital they took you to right when you got injured?
It was Orange County Global.
Orange County Global. Okay, and then to Costa, and then you started your inpatient rehab there.
Yeah.
What did you start with your inpatient rehab at first? Was it PT, OT, and speech?
I was getting everything.
Okay,
Yep.
nice. How was your experience as far as like starting out PT, OT, and speech? What did you like the most, and what do you feel like was the most beneficial towards your recovery?
It was brutal at first because I went, 6 weeks just laying in bed and did nothing.
Right.
And so, like, every time they got me out of bed, I was like, this is impossible. I had no movement, so it was like, what's the point of any of this? But I was there, I think, for like 4, maybe almost 5 months. And the improvements felt small at the time. But when we left there, I was like almost to the point of feeding myself, which is a huge improvement.
Yeah.
So I give a lot of credit to all of their departments, but I think OT probably made the biggest difference.
Do you remember the first movement you got back?
I think the first movement we saw was actually in ICU. I could wiggle my toes, which is really weird that the first movement is in my feet.
Yeah.
Surprising enough, the first move was in her wiggle her left toes, and then later was move her left hand. And her right side now is much stronger than her left side. But the left side was the first to move.
My sister's left-handed, and she was giving me a hard time. She was like, "You're gonna be a lefty."
New lefty in the
New
family.
lefty in the family. I love it. So fast forward a little bit into your recovery. How long do you remember staying? How long did you stay at Casa?
I think it was just over 4 months.
4 months. And at what point did you start coming here? Were you still at Casa? Or was that after?
No, so after I left inpatient at Casa, I went to their transitional living center. And I didn't live there, I lived at home. So I did the back and forth 5 days a week for 5 hours.
Wow.
For a few months, and then did like 3 days for 5 hours. I think I did that for like close to 8 months. And then when that came to an end, that's when I came here. So it was probably like a year and a half post-injury.
Yeah, you went to Casa Catalina in some form for over a year.
Yeah.
If there's
which
anybody,
is huge. Most people aren't able to say they're that long.
No.
it's a really long time.
But the insurance, they kept getting the insurance to pay, and then at the end, when the insurance wouldn't pay anymore, they gave her a grant through their foundation because they said they weren't done with her. They wanted to keep working with her.
That's awesome.
And
Can get rid of you.
You kept progressing and progressing, right? And hitting milestones and milestones. So they wanted to continue your progress, which I'm glad they did. And you progressed a lot since then, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you compare like when you left TLC to like where you are at now? Do you remember what your milestones that you were reaching, like kind of when you left TLC and then your most recent milestones?
Don't remember specifically when I left, but I know I think I was just starting to walk with the up walker with that harness. And I remember I was actually the one who suggested that we try that without the harness. And they thought I was crazy. So to compare that to now, where I'm walking with just a walker and a cape on, and not falling ever.
No, lunges.
Ever.
Just sometimes doing lunges.
Never. Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
And I mean, one of your most recent ones too. I remember you stood like 30 seconds independently without anybody or anything touching you, which is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
I remember looking back at your old evaluations and just thinking, wow, like that's insane.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
And a big thing is now I can do a sit to stand
Yeah.
without assistance. And just the other day I was getting out of bed and he was like, do it yourself. I was like, okay. And did it myself. So
It's awesome. What's insane about that is like seeing people's reactions whenever we have like guests or interns or people coming and watching your sessions, and seeing like them hear that you're a C1 injury and they're like, she's a what injury? And they see you standing up, like doing sit stands or standing on your own or even taking steps. And it's just incredible to see like how much you've progressed since.
Yeah, I don't know if you know how like rare that is. Did they tell you?
Yeah.
Like you're like a unicorn.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think somewhere like 75% of people that are injured never leave the accident scene alive.
I was gonna guess higher, so
Yeah.
that makes sense. But yeah, it's a very high.
I know 70% of internal decapitations typically don't make it. And I'll put the article on that. I did see that.
Yeah. So that's definitely a unicorn to, I mean, survive that, but also to get to a state to where you are of, you know, being able to do so much independently.
Yeah, I didn't expect to get this far. When we were in the ICU and they were telling me like how bad it was. I was just kind of dark, but I was like, just end it then.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Pull the flag. Because I didn't want to live like that.
But you fought hard. I mean, and after just a few weeks in ICU, she was off the ventilator, you know, and the first time they took it off, it only lasted a few minutes. And they put it back on. They tried it again in a day or two. And then she's like off for 36 minutes. It's like, nobody does that. They said, you know, you don't go from 3 minutes to 36 minutes
in a day. Just
and
stubborn.
Yeah.
Stubborn for sure. I was going to say also, like in a note that we made is that you have such like an athlete mentality. And like, we know you've played softball your whole life, and it just an example like that shows that you have so much a mentality of like, I'm going to do it. Like, I don't care if you tell me I'm not going to. Like, you know, the ENT telling you that your vocal cords aren't going to move again, and then here you are.
You're just like, all right, well, let me show you. I'm going to start talking.
So it's just an example of, like you said, stubbornness, but I think you have such a great mindset that really does like keep you motivated, and you're so driven. And where do you feel like that comes from? Like, where does that originate from? Is it through family? Is it just from playing sports?
I don't know where the stubbornness comes from. Definitely that. I think sports help. I'm very, very competitive. If you tell me I can't do something, I'm just gonna go and do it. I think sports is a big thing, but also I think my family was always pushing me to be like the best version of myself and like do the best that I can in sports and in school and life, just everything.
Are you in the retail, restaurant, hospitality, or petroleum industry? Looking for a trusted partner with your multi-site remodel, refresh, or tech integration needs? Look no further. Apex Imaging Services is your complete solution provider. With over 7 decades of experience, we're experts in everything from general contracting to cutting-edge tech solutions. Visit apeximagingservices.com to learn how we can transform your business, increase efficiency, and elevate your brand. Apex Imaging Services. Your vision, our expertise.
That was kind of one of the things I was going to touch on, was how much of an impact did the support system of having your mom, your dad, sister, everybody there for you throughout the whole recovery journey play on your mentality? And like you said, in the beginning it was a little dark and you're like, well, if that's the life you're telling me I'm going to have, maybe I don't want that. What was the point of, having your dad be there, your mom be there, of you being like, okay, maybe that's not how I should think about it. Maybe I should think like the reason I'm still here is for a reason, and let me do what I can to figure out what that reason is.
It was huge. I saw, unfortunately, a lot of people across the Galena didn't have visitors very often. I had someone with me from the day I was injured to the day I was discharged at OC Global and Casa. Someone was with me for every hour that they were allowed to be there. Whether it was my mom, dad, sister, if they were busy, an aunt or an uncle or grandparent, somebody was always there for me. And I definitely had bad days and bad moments where I threw fits and refused to do my therapy. But someone would always come in and encourage me, and sometimes just let me have a bad day or a bad moment. And in the end, I realized that I can give up, and I went back to therapy.
And for you, what was that experience like? You probably had to watch her have some bad days and be okay with that.
Other than the original shock of the accident and everything, the hardest part was the mental part. Because when you're 23 years old and you have this thrown in your lap, you've got your whole life ahead of you. It's a tough pill to swallow. And there was, several weeks of really dark time, like saying, I don't want to be like this. I don't want to continue. And it's a waste of time to try to do therapy and everything. And it was rough. And then finally, at some point, it's like a switch flipped. And she realized, okay, there is life after an injury like this. I can get better. And really, since then, it's been, mentally, I think she's got herself in a good place where, she does pretty good.
So I'll ask you first, and then I'm going to ask you from an outside perspective, do you remember something that caused that flip to switch?
Or some things, multiple things.
I don't. I think it was mostly, her therapist caring and showing they cared and pushing her and knew when to push her, when not to push her. Like she said, if she's going to have a bad day or a bad moment, there's times when they come to get her for therapy and she just refused to go. They said, okay. And later in the day, they'd have it open. They'd come and talk to her and say, hey, I've got a little bit of opening now. You want to go try to do some of the stuff you missed? And, because of their willing or not willing to give up, I think she realized, well, they must see something. So,
definitely.
Even though I say it was like a switch flipped, it was a slow switch. It didn't just happen overnight, but
definitely.
But slowly she became really, invested. And she's always, you never want this to happen to anybody you love, but she's always ended up in the right place. I mean, from the ICU she was in, to have a doctor that fought for her. They wanted to send her to a convalescent home. And he said, no way. He said, I will not release her from my ICU until they agree to put her in a rehab center. And then she went to, got the okay to go to Casa Colina, and somebody from our church knew Dr. Patterson and said, I'm going to call over there and make sure that she gets Dr. Patterson's doctor. Not that the other doctors over there aren't great too, but, Dr. Patterson was amazing for her. And then she gets the therapist over there. And, at first she didn't want to be there. Then after she was there for a while, she didn't want to leave. When she's getting ready to go to TLC, she says, I don't want to go over there. And we toured it. It was right before they remodeled, so it was looking like it needed some care, and
Some
she
TLC.
thought it looked like a dungeon,
Some TLC.
But it just, had been years, and then they've remodeled it. It looks amazing now. But then when she got to TLC, and she didn't want to come home, she wanted to stay there because they were doing so good. And then, over there, Dr. Patterson, when it was time to go, he told us, you guys got to go to the Perfect Step. And now she loves coming here. I mean, she only misses if she absolutely feels horrible. And not only is this where she comes for therapy, but I think she enjoys the social, stuff she gets from it too.
Yeah, everyone except
Wednesdays?
Cody.
It's okay. Yeah, we get it. It's why you left my schedule.
That's not why.
No, it's because she almost.
That's awesome. Well, it just makes me happy to hear like you had such a good experience of where you were at, and I mean, you guys. I love how you guys give so much credit to the doctors and the therapists there and everybody around you. And like we said earlier, if it wasn't for you making that decision to get out of bed or to go ahead and do your therapy, it never would have happened. So it's all definitely surrounding you, and that's the reason why you've seen so many milestones and why we're here. But,
So what about you? Do you remember when that change in perspective happened? Was it like a milestone that you reached, or
turning point?
Yeah.
It was not the flip of a switch. In my opinion, it was a lot of up and downs. I would have really good days and feel like I can handle this. And then it would only take one small thing to go wrong. And I feel like I would just go back to where I started. But eventually over time I came to terms with things and started to accept what had happened. And I think a combination of just accepting it and having support and making progress. Slowly over time, I can have that mental shift.
If you can look back, and is there a specific turning point that stands out to you, or a moment in your recovery where you were like, wow, this gives me even more hope than I had before? Or even on the other side, this is really debilitating for me in this moment in time. Can you maybe look back at that moment? Is there anything that stands out to you?
I think every little milestone is really significant. Probably just the first one, even just getting off the ventilator. That felt huge, and it was, I think, the first thing that they said I wasn't going to do, that I was able to prove them wrong. So then every little thing I did from there, when I just made a small movement with my hand, and the doctor said, oh, it's not you moving, it's just reflexes. So then I started moving my arm. And just little things like that. But definitely the vent was significant. Being able to feed myself was huge.
Yeah, that's huge.
Congratulations to you. You can eat a hot dinner for once.
I can eat a hot dinner.
Because you would feed me first. So that was huge. I can't tell you, getting to scratch your own nose is so great.
Oh my gosh, I bet.
People don't think about that. Figuring out how to do my own makeup. Because my mom would frustrate me, and then I tried to teach him, and he can't do makeup.
I was not good at makeup.
Finally, I was just so frustrated. I was like, I'll do it myself.
I'm kind of glad to admit that too.
Yeah, but your hairstyling has been pretty on point, though.
I can
I'll say that.
Yeah, I can't do my own hair yet, but
Not yet. We'll get there.
Yeah.
She used
That's
to play
awesome.
softball, so I was pretty good at braids and ponytails.
Okay, that's
But
fair.
she was little.
That's fair.
So-
I think one of the really interesting things for me when talking about your recovery is how you've done a lot of unorthodox things, especially now, to continue your recovery. From playing video games like Mario Kart to building Legos to work on like hand dexterity. Was that a lot of the stuff that you kind of got from Casa, or was that just stuff of you wanted to find ways to do things that you liked and it just happened to also be beneficial for you?
I think some of it came from Casa. They're really good about encouraging you to do things that you do in everyday life to like improve. They got me started on video games. Before I left inpatient, they had me try out some like adaptive gaming equipment. But again, I would just like get so frustrated with that. I'm like, forget the adaptive stuff, just give me a controller, let's see what I can do. And I was able to figure it out.
Nice.
And then once I was over at TLC, I think I was just at the mall and we went in the Lego store. And I saw the Disney castle and I was like, I want that, so I guess I gotta learn how to build Legos. So that was something that I just picked up on my own.
That's awesome. All these things, these milestones that you shared, these are all things that like a lot of times we do without thinking about it, right? Like involuntary. We don't think about it, we just do it. Brush our teeth, brush our hair, feed ourselves. And these are all like huge milestones that we see in the building that we like to celebrate though. And I think those are things that we kind of take for granted sometimes. And when like our clients get those things back, it's like, wow, that's huge. And so we always want to make sure that we don't negate any of those milestones. Those are really big things. Is there anything that you use to make it more adaptive for you, like to do your makeup and to be able to brush your teeth? Like any tools that you can recommend to anybody out there?
I didn't even mention, people always think of the first thing when like they talk about my milestones. They're like, oh, she can walk. I'm like, forget about that, I can eat.
Yes.
Scratch your nose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the important things. But for me, I'm really lucky that I have good finger function and good grip on my dominant hand. So I don't use any adaptive tools.
Awesome.
We've had the foam things you put on her forks and spoons that we bent and everything else,
Okay.
which helped in the beginning, but she just keeps blowing right past needing all that stuff. And I can't tell you how many things we bought that she's used 3 or 4 times. Say, it's just slowing me down. So we end up donating.
I just get irritated with it. I'm like, I'll figure out how to do it without it.
It's what the whole recovery process is, right? It's a bunch of figuring different stuff out. I'm sure the way you do it now isn't the same way you would do it before.
No.
But you get the job done in the same way. And if you get the food in your mouth, who cares how the fork's being held or anything like that.
I get a lot on my shirt. But
most of it in your mouth, so that's not good.
Depends on the dish.
Yeah.
Soup is a little difficult.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Disney, and when you mentioned it, you talked about the Lego set of Disney castle that you built. Speaking of Disney, I know you guys, Disney enthusiasts, you guys like to go. Are there any rides in particular that you're able to go on at Disneyland? And what was it like going back to Disney after you got injured, as far as accessibility and inclusivity?
Yeah, so I actually had a pass when I was injured. So when I got to the hospital, I was like, I don't know what I'll be able to do at Disney, but let's go. Because I'm paying for it. So I think we went a few times, but we didn't really know what they had to offer for people in wheelchairs. Come to find out, there's quite a few rides that you can go on in your wheelchair. Just off the top of my head, Jungle Cruise, It's a Small World, Buzz Lightyear, Astro Blasters, The Little Mermaid. Yeah, there's.
But your first trip to Disney, you were still going to Costa Colina TLC.
Was that my first trip back?
That was your first trip back, and we went there with a therapist that another gentleman that worked there or worked at TLC also worked at Disney. So he signed the therapist in, and they went and they showed us how to transform the rides.
Skipping the important part, which is for weeks I was telling them I need to go to Disney for therapy. And I convinced them to let me take one of their therapists for a few hours and take me to Disney so she can teach my dad to help get me on rides.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I guess, that was the first trip back. Even before going on any of the rides where you could just drive right on. We went on the rides where you would have to transfer. And so, we got on, I think, Peter Pan and Haunted Mansion and
Alice in Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland.
How were the transfers?
They were rough at first, but every time we do a ride, we get better. We find a better way.
Nice. Can you maybe explain from like your point of view what that transfer looked like when she was teaching you how to do the transfers onto the rides?
The biggest thing is the lack of room. Because when you or I get on a ride, we step through with a foot, we step through with another foot, and we sit down. Well, when Alexis goes in, she's got to go back in first.
Right.
And some of these openings, especially on like the rides in Fantasyland, Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland, they're not very big because they're, kids are going on there, so they're pretty small openings. That was the toughest. He's like, oh my goodness, how are we going to get her through that?
Yeah.
And it's tough. It's gotten a lot easier since she's gotten so much stronger, and she can stand and pivot, and when she gets to where she can take a couple of steps, we just kind of hold on to her. That's going to make it even better. There's certain rides that I won't attempt to get her on without help, other than my wife, because she's not able to really pull Alexis or anything. She's just not strong enough. So we go with friends, and if they're strong enough, I'll have one of them get in and say, "No," when I get in, just grab her by her belt loops and pull her towards you. And we've done a lot of rides. We've done Rise of Resistance. We've done
Radiator Springs
really? Racers. We have done Pirates of the Caribbean, the Haunted Mansion,
Mickey and Minnie's
Runaway. The only thing we've really stayed away from,
like neck stability.
No,
that one's kind of like whippy.
Yeah, so that one's really jerky. We just went on it on Friday, actually. And it's not too bad for my neck. The biggest thing is the seat is like kind of short. So my knees start to slide forward a little bit.
Oh.
So you got to make sure she doesn't slide out.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I had never been on it, and the very first time it went on it, we took our baby with us, and I didn't realize how whippy it was.
Yeah.
And the whole ride, I was literally just sitting there holding her neck stable because she was just waddling around, and I didn't know. So for you, I was like, oh.
Yeah, they don't have a height requirement or anything.
No, that one, anybody and everybody.
We just went on Friday, and I was like, how is there not a requirement for this?
I don't know.
Is that Disneyland?
Yeah.
Disneyland Park?
So the only thing we've really avoided so far is roller coasters. She loves roller coasters, but just haven't got there yet.
Yeah.
And the rides where you step down to, we did Pirates, which was tough, but I had help. We haven't done the log ride.
The rapids, not yet.
Yeah. I think the trouble with the log ride is it's single row. It's better to have somebody that can be in to help bring her along. A longer seat makes it easier.
Definitely.
But I'm sure eventually we'll try it.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the newer rides, like Radiator Springs Racers, they have a separate car that comes off to the side.
That's right.
So you can take your time transferring.
Didn't you say Spider-Man has that one too?
Yeah.
Nice.
So you haven't done basically just Tower of Terror? I'm assuming. Did you do Tower Tour?
No, they want me to, but I'm like, no.
She doesn't like that ride.
Oh. Have you done Soarin'?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a super easy transfer.
Okay. Probably no Goofy's flight school.
That is.
No.
Please don't do that.
That thing
one.
is
Yeah,
very.
that
I'll
one.
never go
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah,
I did it.
I
That's not
don't
the
even like
place.
that one. That one.
Yeah,
I
we just
don't
did
like.
it. It's very.
Yeah,
It's
no.
super whippy. Yeah. And credit coaster.
Credit
I
coaster.
want to go on a credit coaster.
Have you done Space Mountain?
No roller coaster.
No roller coasters.
coasters.
So no Matterhorn.
I'd forget.
Star Tours? Yeah,
Oh,
we've
yeah,
done Star Tours.
And Rise of the Resistance.
And we've done Rise of the Resistance.
And also Millennium
Smuggler's Run.
Falcon.
Millennium Falcon.
Wow.
I've covered all the Star Wars rides.
Yeah.
If
That's
you do
awesome.
a roller coaster, are you gonna do the one in Toontown first? Do they still have that one?
They do have it. I don't think I've ever been on it.
Her favorite is Big Thunder Mountain.
Big Thunder.
I've been trying to bribe him.
If you have kidney stones, I've heard that's
I
good for that.
bribed him.
So,
Oh.
um,
So you've been trying to bribe him. How's that
Yeah.
been working so far?
No, well.
No. So that kind of like brings up an interesting idea I thought about of like you guys have been going to Disney now like a lot together, right? A lot more than. Would you say you're going a lot more together now than you were previously to your injury?
I think so.
Yeah. Do you feel like a lot of those experiences now have brought you two kind of closer together than maybe even before your injury? Or do you feel like that relationship has changed or grown in any way since you guys are spending even more time together now?
I think the injury itself has brought us closer together.
Mm.
It's forced us to spend a lot more time together.
We're a lot alike.
Yeah.
couldn't tell.
Unfortunately for everyone else.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What is the biggest way that you would say it has changed your relationship dynamic? How do you look at your daughter differently now, or the same in a different way?
I really don't look at her differently other than just, the fact that she needs more help than she used to. She was very, very independent before.
Hmm.
And she still is. She only wants help if she can't do it herself.
Right.
So it's I mean, I guess it made us closer because we're spending more time together. So we talk about, we talk a lot more. We've come to figure out, TV shows that we both like. So we're not always watching Deadliest Catch. We can watch something that she likes. Although she'll watch Deadliest Catch with me. But yeah, it's made us closer in that way that we've found things that we can enjoy together.
Yeah.
We used to always watch baseball together and stuff like that, and we still do.
Mm.
But usually when it came to, other TV shows, she'd go to her room and hibernate, and I'd watch my TV in the family room. So
Now, would you say this is like similar to your whole family too? Like your mom and your sister, maybe even your extended family at all?
That I've gotten closer to.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Hmm.
I think in some ways we're closer, in some ways we fight more.
Mm.
But I think just learning to separate, like the caregiver from the parent, is difficult, but it's necessary to remember that, like, they're doing the best they can for you, even if it's not always what's making you happy.
I think a lot of it is mom and dad dynamic, where moms are nurturers and always want to do things, and dads are like, well, go ahead. If you fall down and hurt yourself, well, then you shouldn't have done it, kind of thing. So what I mean by that is if we're sitting in a house and she's doing something, I will say, do you need help with that? And she'll say no or yes, where her mother will just come up and do it for her. She's going, I didn't want your help. So, but sometimes, I probably watch her struggle when her mother would help her out before I do, because I think it's just a lot of different,
Being okay with watching them struggle.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Well, I think it's just different between and this is old fashioned, I guess, but it's just the mom dynamic to the dad dynamic,
Sounds like a good
I mean,
balance that you guys have though.
Yeah. Even, when your kids are little, Dad says, let's take the training wheels off bike and push it down the driveway, see what happens. And Mom's going, no.
Yeah. Put his helmet on. Yeah.
So to me, I think it's just a lot, it's more that.
Right.
And I think she would rather, instead of jumping and do it, ask, do you want me to do that?
Mm.
And Moms just like to take over and do it and be a nurturer. And she's, has to tell her mom, I'm not 5. I don't need that. But other than that, I mean, we're all closer. We have to be.
Yeah.
How would you say your relationships outside of the family dynamic have changed?
Honestly, I don't think they've changed that much. I've heard a lot of people talk about, unfortunately, losing friends after their injury. Friends just don't reach out, they don't come around, they don't know what to say. I feel really lucky in that every single one of my friends still shows up for me, has still reached out to me. I haven't lost a single friendship, and they really don't treat me any differently than they did before.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. You don't hear that a lot.
You don't. Yeah.
We're very lucky.
It's a blessing.
I picked some good ones.
Yeah.
Are you or a loved one living with paralysis and searching for a path to recovery and hope? Look no further than The Perfect Step. Our unique exercise-based recovery programs have helped clients with conditions like spinal cord injury, stroke, Parkinson's, and more. With our approach, many clients experience improved function, reduced medication, and even freedom from wheelchairs. But we're not just a program. We're a community of support. You'll meet peers who understand your journey, along with specialists dedicated to your recovery. Visit us today at theperfectstep.com. The Perfect Step, where recovery begins.
As far as the community goes within the building here and just the process community in general, do you feel like you've been able to have an interconnectedness to people within the process community, or maybe even some clients here in the building, or even like at the gala event that you mentioned earlier? Mm. Yeah. Was there any type of friendships maybe that you've built, or even acquaintances?
It's hard because we don't live super close.
Right.
Not as far as other clients, but so I don't come to a lot of the events we have. But definitely I've met some people and feel a sense of community here. Mm. I know at other places for like PT, I'm usually the youngest one there by like a few decades.
Wow.
So it's hard to really make connections. Mm. But here there's like a lot of people around the same age who have similar experiences and interests. So it feels like it's a lot easier to be a part of a community here than like maybe a traditional PT setting.
Mm. What are some things that you would like to see moving forward as far as like events go, or as far as activities that we put on? What's something that you feel like, if it was like closer to you, maybe it was in Orange County, what's something that you would look forward to?
Disney Day.
Oh, that's such a good idea, Disney Day.
That'd be awesome.
And you know what I was thinking? I think this is really far-fetched, but like, I really want to travel, but I'm like scared to travel. We should do a perfect set, like a group traveling.
That'd be awesome.
Like outings.
That'd be pretty cool. We have one of our trainers right now is about to go on a trip with one of our clients.
Yeah.
They're going even out of the country. So
yeah,
that's kind of what gave me the idea.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Even if it's not out of the country, say it's a trip to Long Beach or Havasu or something like that, something a little more feasible than a different country. But I think there's definitely room for something like that, because I think it's a lot of people want to travel, right? They want to go see new things. They want to explore new things.
But I'm scared.
Yeah. Where do you want to travel to?
Oh gosh, a lot of places.
The beach of Paisley.
Yeah. The beach with my dog. In the U.S., Nashville.
Mm.
Even just to Texas. My sister just moved there.
Yeah.
So to visit her.
What part scares you? Plane?
The biggest thing that scares me is the thought that they might damage my chair. Mm. And I'm terrified of being without my chair.
Yeah. It's a valid fear.
How far away do you feel? I'm sure me and Logan have a different perspective, but how far away do you feel you are from being able to push yourself like in a manual chair?
I know I can do it for like 10 feet. I think I can get there with time. The biggest thing is honestly probably the mental block. Right now it's just so frustrating. And it's like, why am I going to expend all that energy when I have a perfect power chair right there?
Maybe you won't.
That's the one thing we haven't done is travel. I mean, I think she spent one night in a hotel room when she went to a wedding with her sister. But it was just, they went out, they went to the wedding, spent the night, and came right back home. Just so they didn't have to drive into wee hours of the morning.
Right.
And, you know, it's something that we've talked about, you know, even like a weekend to Vegas or something like that. But there's so many things, you know, places say, yeah, they're accessible, but you get there and it's like, okay, she can't get in the bathroom, she can't get in the shower, so how is this going to work? You know, so we've always talked ourselves out of it for some reason. So one of these days we're going to have to do something, you know, whether it's to San Diego or to Vegas or something like that, and just see what happens. And those are both close enough that if it's completely terrible, we can turn around and come home.
Yeah, definitely. That is the thing I've heard about a lot is like accessibility. But who is it accessible for? Right? Like, is it accessible for somebody that's in a walker or that's using a cane or somebody that's an amputee or somebody that's in a wheelchair? Like, who is that place really accessible for? And so I'm hoping that like in the future, there can be more places that will show, okay, this is handicap accessible, but this is who it's specifically accessible for. So hopefully we can continue to fight towards that.
Yeah, that wedding I went to, they were like, the venue's totally accessible.
Yeah.
And I show up and it's all those like little rocks. Which it ended up being fine.
Yeah.
But I did have a rock stuck in my chair for a few days, so I wasn't running right.
Oh.
It was a little rough, but I made it.
Yeah.
But we're here. Another thing you talked about before was like, since we're on that topic, is therapy dogs. Like, I know you talked about maybe wanting to have like some sort of like therapy dogs in the building. I think that'd be awesome. We should make that happen.
Yeah, therapy dogs or my dog.
Friend Hazel. Yeah.
That's one thing I got out of this. It's like, I broke my neck, yes, but I got a dog, so. My sister helped me negotiate that. When I was still in the ICU, I was blinking out letters, and my sister told my parents she wants a dog, and they were like, "Fine, whatever, she can have a dog."
That's awesome.
And her dog is not a therapy dog, not a service dog, not a service dog, but she is trained to do a few things. If Alexis drops something that's small, her stylist, a hair clip or something like that, the dog will pick it up and give it back to her.
That's awesome.
Her hairbrush, the dog will pick up and give it back to her. We put some handicap doors in the house, and we tell the dog to push the button, and she'll go push the button and open the door.
That's incredible.
Can't keep the dog in the house.
Exactly.
Not setting it up at the door.
She also loves me, which is a service.
Yeah.
That's, definitely. Almost like an ESA dog.
Truly, though, like, just the happiness she brought me. Of having a puppy, having a dog. I could tell the difference.
Yeah.
They say the oxytocin that you get from petting a dog is like insane.
I believe it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
For both of you, kind of like a question either of you guys or both can answer. What has been your greatest resource for learning about either spinal cord injury or accessibility? You had mentioned, you had bought these different devices to try to do different things. Maybe some websites that you guys would like to share with the audience. Is there like a resource, a book that you read, a podcast you listened to, a movie you saw, anything like that of something that taught you guys about spinal cord injury and accessibility?
I think College Clinic set us up really well. They give you all the basic information. But honestly, when I had questions, good old Google got me through. And If there wasn't ChatGPT back then.
The Triumph Foundation is pretty amazing too.
Triumph. But yeah, Google is very helpful. You get amazed what you can find on Amazon. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, early on, I looked at a lot of the information that Triumph gave us. They showed up at Casa, right?
Yeah.
And then give you a backpack, and it's got all kinds of information in it. And I just, looked at that over and over and over, and till I was so confused I didn't know what to do. But they have all kinds of resources in there, and I mean, you can even call them and talk to them.
That's cool.
So, but also at Casa they have a lot of equipment on hand there, and they're like, well, here, try this. Didn't work. Try this. Okay, that was better, and stuff like that. Google or YouTube,
Yeah. I know you talked about a lot of information you've gotten from where you're doing physical therapy at recently to Providence.
Oh, yeah, Providence.
Yeah, I know you've talked really highly about them, and even like the AFOs that you've got from there. So I know there's a few places, and I'm hoping that we can also be that part of like educational resource for you guys as time goes on too, and using the experiences from other clients that we have here, and then other specialists, and maybe even some assistants. And I think that learning for us is never ending. We're always trying to learn. We're always trying to get the next best thing. We're always trying to get the next information. And that's, one of the reasons why we started this podcast. So we can have people like yourselves share the knowledge and information for people that maybe I just got injured, or maybe they're in the midst of their injury right now and going through it, and they want more information about how to cope with the injury and what tools are out there. So thank you guys for your wisdom.
One of the first things she started walking with here was the Riften.
Yeah.
And it was so cool, worked so well. I went on eBay, started looking for one. I found one for what they were asking for, and then I said, I'm going to offer something stupid that they're going to turn down, and they took it. So we got a Riften, and it works great. And we used it for we don't really use it anymore because she's surpassed it, but it's a nice piece of equipment, and we hold on to it because I think, you know what, if you ever do get on the ground and I can't get you up off the ground, I can jerry rig something to get you up off the ground with this thing, because it's a lift. We don't have a Hoyer lift anymore, so but that was like one of our first big purchases. When I say big, I can't remember what I paid for it, but it was like a fourth of what they go for brand new.
I think I remember you telling me, like, I found one and I'm going to offer this. And I was like, do it. Like,
and they took it. I was like, they're never going to take this, but I'm going to make an offer. And they took it. So, but it works great. And, and we still have it, and don't really use it anymore, but I don't see any need to get rid of it. What'd you say?
I practice working all the time now.
I'm like, what, you're doing your homework? No. The Vitaglide? No, you guys are using the Vitaglide too?
Yeah.
You have I forget the brand, but it's similar to the new step that you have as well. Yeah.
I do have a good amount of equipment.
Yeah.
It's good. You need it. But I think, like Logan touched on it, right? We, hope to be that educational resource for as many of our clients, and even people who aren't our clients. And I think we understand maybe we're not that bright, but we can bring people on like you guys who can share your experiences and knowledge with the rest of the community, so that maybe they can learn something that you had to learn the hard way by just listening to you. So thank you for coming on and sharing your guys' knowledge and experiences, and allowing hopefully some other people to learn from you guys.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for everything you do.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure, guys.
Has been.
Till next time.
Hey, good.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of Pathways to Healing, the Perfect Step Podcast.
Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, and feel free to leave a review by clicking the link in the description below.
If you have any feedback or topics you'd like for us to cover in upcoming episodes, go to our website under the tab Pathways to Healing and fill out that form.
Until then, keep inspiring, stay resilient, and roll on.